Imagine trying to break a high-value political prisoner out of an impenetrable ancient fortress.
Right. You instantly think of, like, the loudest options available.
Exactly. I mean, if you're visualizing this right now, your mind is probably going straight to a battering ram splintering a wooden gate.
Yeah, or swords clashing in the courtyards.
Or maybe a massive coordinated riot under the cover of darkness. We are so conditioned to think of a prison break as this violent, explosive clash of force.
Oh, absolutely. Hollywood has definitely trained us that way.
Right. But today, we are looking at a completely different landscape of escape. We're looking at a story where the ultimate weapon isn't a sword or a siege engine.
It's actually a woven basket full of pungent, smelly weeds.
Yes, and an absolute mastery of human psychology. Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are stepping into the atmospheric, sprawling limestone walls of ancient Cartagena.
Which is such a deeply cinematic setting for this.
It really is. We are unpacking a masterclass in ancient espionage from the story Episode Tales. Specifically, we're diving into a chapter titled Chasing Death, Episode 29, The Fortuitous Fever.
It's a brilliant piece of source material.
It is. And our mission for this deep dive is to unpack exactly how a healer and his student managed to conquer an armed garrison using nothing but patience, botany, and, the weaponization of authority.
And as we go through this, I really want you to imagine the sensory details. Picture the torchlit corridors, the heavy limestone
Or
walls.
that raw, earthy scent of wild herbs that kicks off this whole thing.
Yeah, because the whole narrative operates on this fascinating principle of misdirection.
Right.
If you're trying to hide something massive, the instinct is to bury it in the dark. But the most sophisticated infiltrators know that the dark draws suspicion.
So you hide in plain sight.
Exactly. You put your operation right out in the open, bathed in sunlight, but disguised as something so incredibly mundane that the brain just edits it out of the threat matrix.
So let's look at how that actually plays out, because the story starts with exactly that kind of brilliant misdirection. The sun is barely up over Cartagena, and we meet a character named Yurka. He arrives at the royal guest house carrying this heavy woven basket.
And it's just overflowing with wild herbs, roots, leaves, supposedly from the wilderness of Elam.
Right. Waiting for him is Zayn, the mastermind and royal physician. And Zayn doesn't just quietly pull him inside to plot.
No, he puts on a massive, loud performance.
Yeah. He warmly embraces Yurka and loudly proclaims to the guards of the gate that this is his most promising student.
He's practically shouting about these rare medicinal specimens.
Which is so smart. But I mean, why doesn't a guard just poke through the basket?
Wow.
You're at a highly secure royal facility. If some guy shows up with a giant basket of foliage, standard protocol is to check it for weapons, right?
In a vacuum, yeah, absolutely. But Zayn is wielding a psychological tool known as the halo effect.
Oh.
You see, Zayn isn't just a random doctor. Prior to this chapter, he actually saved the governor's life. He pulled the man back from the brink of a fatal illness.
So he's untouchable.
Essentially, yeah. Because of that, Zayn possesses an immense reservoir of goodwill and authority. To the guards, questioning Zayn feels dangerously close to questioning the governor's own judgment.
Wow, so he takes that unearned privilege and just extends it over Yurka.
Like a protective umbrella. He's establishing an airtight alibi before anyone even has the neurological impulse to ask a question.
Controlling the frame.
Exactly. If you act like you have a completely legitimate, boring reason to be there, people naturally adopt your frame of reality.
And he cements that protection even further by evening. Zayn takes Yurka straight to the top of the food chain.
They go right to the governor.
Yes, to the royal palace. They present him with these rare botanical gifts. The governor is absolutely thrilled, announces rewards for Yurka, and instantly these two are officially embedded.
To everyone watching, they are just two dedicated, slightly nerdy scholars.
Right. They utilize the ultimate camouflage. Absolute boredom.
It's brilliant. For an entire week, they spend their days in the lush royal gardens, crouching over exotic Persian shrubs.
Just intensely debating the cellular properties of bark and leaves.
And no heavily armed guard wants to stand in the hot sun and listen to two academics argue about root structures. It completely repels attention.
You know, it reminds me of modern-day cybersecurity. Zayn and Yurka are basically running an ancient penetration test.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. When a corporation hires ethical hackers to test their physical security, Those guys do not show up in black ski masks.
No, they show up wearing high-visibility vests.
Exactly. High-vis vests, clipboards, maybe carrying a ladder. If you look like you're there to fix the Wi-Fi or inspect the HVAC system, people will literally hold the secure doors open for you.
Zayn and Yurka are casing the joint while wearing the armor of absolute impenetrable boredom.
But there's a problem, right? Despite their brilliant cover, they hit a massive wall.
Yeah, 7 days pass without a single clue.
They know their target, the imprisoned former commander-in-chief of the armies of Nineveh, a man named Ashur, is somewhere in the subterranean dungeons.
But they have no idea which vent, which shadow, or which hidden door leads to him.
And their perfect cover is completely useless if they don't know where the target is. They're just burning daylight.
They are completely paralyzed. I mean, they can't actively ask questions about a high-value political prisoner without immediately blowing their cover.
So they just have to wait, which is terrible strategically.
Unless Providence steps in.
And it does, but in this terrifying way. This brings us to the irony of the chapter's title, the Fortuitous Fever.
Right. Ashur contracts severe yellow fever.
At first, the jailers just ignore him, assuming he's lethargic from the dark and the damp. But then the fever spikes. His skin starts burning, the jaundice sets in.
And suddenly, a sick prisoner becomes a massive state emergency. The governor goes into a complete panic.
Which we really need to break down, because he's not panicking out of compassion, right?
Oh, not at all. Ashur is a geopolitical prize. He legally belongs to Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon.
And the king has very specific, highly theatrical plans for Ashur.
Exactly. He intends to execute the general by his own hand as the bloody centerpiece of his upcoming coronation festivities.
It's a vital display of absolute power.
So if you're the governor and the king's prize sacrificial lamb dies of a mosquito bite in your basement,
Your career is over.
your career and likely your life, the governor would face the absolute wrath of Babylon. The stakes are existential.
And that pressure creates this immense vacuum of trust within the palace.
Yes. In an ancient royal court, everyone is entangled in local conspiracies. Poison is a distressingly common political tool.
Right, so if I'm the governor, I'm suddenly looking at my own court physicians and wondering...
And got bribed.
Exactly. Which one of them might have been bribed by a rival faction to let Ashur die and make me look incompetent?
Precisely. The governor becomes deeply paranoid. He bypasses his entire medical staff and summons Zayn.
Because Zayn is an outsider.
He's a stranger with no apparent stake in Nineveh's volatile politics. What could this young, traveling healer possibly want with a broken military general?
And Zayn's earlier success with the governor makes him the perfect choice.
The only logically safe choice for a highly classified, politically explosive task.
And this is the part I find staggering. Zayn is summoned to the governor's private chambers. The governor outlines this top-secret situation, reveals the identity of the prisoner, and says, I want you to treat him, and I want no one else to know.
He's handing him the keys to the kingdom.
Direct, unquestioned VIP access to the secret dungeon. My question is, how do you maintain a mask of professional calm when your entire mission just falls into your lap?
I mean, it requires an unbelievable degree of emotional regulation.
Seriously.
The text notes that Zayn feels this massive surge of triumph, but he suppresses it in a fraction of a second. He forces his facial muscles to relax.
He just lets his eyes settle into an expression of solemn duty.
Right, and he doesn't eagerly agree. He actually negotiates. He tells the governor he must bring his student, Yurka, to observe the rare medical case.
Leveraging his own reputation to guarantee Yurka's silence. That is ice-cold discipline.
He doesn't overplay his hand at all.
He just bows and says, It shall be as you wish, Excellency. It's only when he gets back to the guest house, drags Yurka inside, and bolts the door that he finally breaks character.
He grins and says, our problem has solved itself.
But his strategic restraint surfaces again immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah, because Yurka gets excited and wants to rush down to the dungeon right then and there. And Zayn physically stops him.
He knows he has to prepare the prisoner first.
Exactly. He says, patience. I must go alone first. If Ashur sees both of us at once, the shock could betray us to the guards.
Physical access is only half the equation. You have to manage a volatile, delirious human variable who has no idea a rescue is happening.
Which brings us to the actual descent into the dungeon.
Yes. And I want you to feel the sensory shift here. Zayn is escorted by the captain of the guard. You leave those bright, lush, royal gardens.
You walk through echoing, empty verandas.
Then you start going down a narrow, unassuming stone staircase. The air drops in temperature. It turns cold, damp, and smells of rot.
They pass a heavy iron door, then a second smaller entrance.
Until they finally arrive at a lightless, cramped cell, and the state of the prisoner is just heartbreaking.
Ashur is sitting on a thin palm leaf mat. He's tattered, grime-stained, shivering violently.
He's a broken man waiting for death. He stubbornly refuses the medicine.
He literally calls it a wasted luxury for a man whose neck is destined for the executioner's axe.
He tells the captain to take the royal jester and his potions away, which is a massive logistical nightmare for Zayn.
Oh, absolutely.
You finally have your target, but you have an armed guard standing 2 feet away listening to every word. How do you communicate a complex rescue plan?
Well, Zayn executes this brilliant psychological pivot. He weaponizes the captain's own fear of catching the fever.
Oh, right. Zayn leans in and whispers, "The man is stubborn and delirious from the heat of the blood. Step outside and I will find a way to make him see reason."
And the captain doesn't want to be in that diseased cell anyway. Give him a medical excuse to step away, and he takes it immediately.
So the captain steps behind the iron bars, leaving Zayn alone with Ashur. And this is where the dual-layered conversation begins.
It's masterful. Zayn starts arranging his glass vials on the stone ledge. He reaches out to check Ashur's pulse.
To the guard outside, it looks like standard clinical procedure, a doctor doing his job.
But as Zayn leans in close to the general's ear, he whispers the truth.
He drops massive intelligence bombs. He says, "I am here for one purpose, to get you out of this place. The queen is alive and concealed near Babylon."
Prince Marut is alive. Yurka is here.
It's auditory sleight of hand, like a spy movie where they turn up the radio to mask a wiretap. Zayn is whispering earth-shattering news while simultaneously yelling medical instructions for the guard in the hall.
Shouting, "You must lie down. Sitting upright will only drive the fever higher."
Brilliant camouflage. Giving the guard's brain a loud, expected task to focus on, so he completely ignores the dangerous reality happening inches away.
And he's using that loud voice to explain away the physical shock trembling through Ashur's body.
But I keep coming back to the sheer risk here. You're trusting a fever-addled, desperate man not to gasp or cry out in front of the guard.
It's an astronomical gamble. Zayn is betting everything on the ghosts of Ashur's military past.
That the disciplined general inside him will snap to attention.
And it pays off. The muscle memory of command takes over. Ashur processes the intelligence, follows Zayn's barked medical orders, and drinks the tonic.
The tonic actually works too. The fever breaks overnight. The next day, Yurka is brought in.
Which is a deeply intentional psychological step. Ashur needs an anchor to prove the whisper wasn't a fever dream.
While Yurka is massaging Ashur's forehead with scented oils, the captain gets bored again and steps outside.
Giving Yurka the window to deliver the final pieces of the puzzle. Loyalists are gathering in Yemen.
It's the ultimate injection of hope. They cure his despair, giving him a concrete reason to fight for his life. But that leaves the elephant in the room.
Getting him out.
Yes. You have a motivated prisoner inside an impenetrable fortress. Back at the guest house that night, Yurka asks, "What now? Do we bribe a guard? Do we start a fire?"
And Zayn categorically rejects bribery. From a game theory perspective, bribery leaves a loose thread.
Right. If a bribed guard gets cold feet or double crosses them, their heads roll before sunset.
So Zayn devises a purely pharmacological and psychological escape plan.
Yurka is tasked with having 3 fast horses ready at a hidden thicket exactly at midnight. Then Zayn walks back into the lion's den.
He approaches the captain with deep concern, playing the dedicated doctor card again, claiming he needs to administer a midnight sedative.
And because he spent a week conditioning these guards to expect his odd hours, the captain just yawns.
At midnight, the guard on duty opens the cell without a single question.
Okay, I have to stop you here because this is where the physical takedown happens, and I am highly skeptical of the Hollywood version of this.
The magic chloroform rag.
Yes. In movies, a spy presses a rag over a guard's mouth, and the guy instantly goes limp. Medically, that's ridiculous. The guy would fight back, drop his spear, metal clangs on stone, the whole fortress wakes up.
It's a phenomenal question, and the answer lies in ancient pharmacology, something known as the spongia somnifera, or the soporific sponge.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have modern chloroform, but they absolutely had access to highly concentrated extracts of henbane, mandragora, and opium. If prepared correctly, inhaling these fumes causes rapid central nervous system depression.
But it still requires a deep breath, which they won't take if they're being attacked.
Exactly. So how does Zayn bypass the flinch reflex? By not attacking him.
Oh, wow.
Zayn uses his authority. Inside the cell, he looks at the guard and says, Hold this vial for a moment while I prepare the compress.
The guard is bored, tired, and a respected doctor is asking a minor favor.
He reaches his hand out. His defenses are completely lowered. In that fraction of a second, Zayn smoothly presses a silken handkerchief soaked in the anesthetic over the man's face.
And because he wasn't expecting it, he gasps in surprise.
Inhaling a massive dose of the vapor, his knees buckle instantly. No struggle, no noise.
That is horrifyingly elegant. From there, it's a race against the clock. Asher strips the unconscious guard, puts on the leather armor, the iron helmet, and the sword.
They hide the guard under the palm leaf mat.
And in minutes, Asher becomes the royal physician's armed escort. But escaping the cell isn't escaping the fortress.
Now they have to navigate the labyrinth. This tests the psychology of uniforms and authority.
They're walking through these silent, torch-lit limestone halls, and a sentry challenges them. Who goes there?
An amateur spy would freeze here. But Zayn leans into his character. He plays the irritated, arrogant royal physician.
He snaps back. The royal physician, returning from the prisoner cell with my escort, let us pass.
And the sentry, conditioned to obey the upper class, just steps aside. It highlights a glaring vulnerability in strict hierarchies. Subordinates are trained to never question their superiors.
It happens again at the final door to the royal gardens. The guard levels a spear, questioning the odd hour. Asher uses the helmet to muffle his voice, complaining about dungeon fumes.
And the guard's reaction is basically the thesis of this deep dive.
He lowers the spear, shrugs, and says, "An odd hour for a stroll, but the governor's favorites do as they please."
Zayn weaponized his own privilege. That meticulously built reputation as the governor's savior became an invisible shield.
It's breathtaking. They slip into the darkness of the garden, sprinting to the thicket where Yurka is waiting with the horses. You can almost see the steaming breath of the animals in the night air.
But they still have one final obstacle: the heavy city gates.
They ride hard for the exit. There's a single watchman left. As the man steps forward, Zayn just leans down from the saddle and presses another drugged cloth to his face.
The man crumples. Yurka throws open the wooden bolts, and they ride off into the open night.
Safe by sunrise, it's a flawless execution of asymmetric warfare. They prove that a healer's bag, used with an understanding of human nature, can be far more devastating than elite soldiers.
They didn't break the walls. They bypassed the mines guarding them.
They understood that people see exactly what they expect to see. The guards expected a boring doctor, so they never saw the spy. It's an incredible story. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. The physical escape was a flawless success. They rode into the night, but what happens the next morning?
Ah, right. When the illusion shatters.
When the governor wakes up, he's going to realize his prized prisoner is gone, and his favorite physician was the ghost who took him.
The physical escape worked, but the cost was astronomical.
Exactly. Zayn had to completely burn his deep cover intelligence asset, his untouchable position as a royal physician.
He scorched the earth behind him.
Consider the hidden costs of this kind of espionage. To save one single life, Zayn permanently incinerated every ounce of trust he built. In the shadowy world of intelligence, a clean getaway almost always leaves the messiest aftermath.
Something to think about next time you see someone in a high-vis vest who looks a little too comfortable.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.